In the Borderlands franchise, we've seen a whole smorgasbord of bosses throughout the years, and some we've defeated in seconds, others we've abused for their loot, from badass raid bosses to a bald dude falling down a flight of stairs. And through them all, I can now confidently say I've beaten every great boss that this franchise has to offer at this current point. And we're going to be focusing on the ones that we've not only struggled with, but the ones that stood head and shoulders above the rest, the bosses that cause crash outs all across the globe. And today, we're gonna rank them, the top 5 hardest bosses in Borderlands history. Coming in at our number 5 spot, we have a raid boss from none other than the almighty Borderlands 2. And not only does he have an outrageous health bar, but his mechanics and the way that you have to tackle this fight makes him such a big kick in the balls. But while there's several bosses that I find to be more difficult, he's the one that I definitely return to the least compared to the others on the list. It is Master Yi. Now why is that? Well, outside of the Ahab rocket launcher, which is used for flak habbing and damage swapping, you have not a damn unique drop that isn't easier to get somewhere else. And I mean seriously, what are you going to be farming this guy for? The Devastator is just a coked up herald that sucks complete dick cheese, and then the Patriot just shouldn't even exist. But what makes this raid boss annoying in my opinion is not being able to damage him for a majority of the fight. And if you didn't know, you'll have to kill his sandworms, which will drop these corrosive piles that you'll have to get Master Yi to walk through. Once he absorbs the corrosive element, then you can take him out. At least, well, temporarily. Then you have to do the exact same thing again, only to get another 30-second damage phase and then suck him into another puddle. While this isn't the hardest thing to do, it's just so tedious, and it's this process that you will rinse and repeat until you eventually get bored and the raid boss just fucking kills you. And coming in at our number 4 spot, we've got our only non-raid boss that made the list today, and he was introduced during the Torx Campaign of Carnage DLC, and it is the Badassosaurus Rex. Now hold the phone. Before you even comment anything, yes, I'm whooping his ass in this footage, and yes, I know that if you sit under the door just right, you can cheese him while not getting hit. But guess what? You can also gate crush Master Yi. I'm talking about actually killing these bosses legitimately without any glitches or unintended methods. You see me using the creamer with the flacker, for example. Yes, it's melting him, but look what happens if I try my normal deputy setup. Yeah, he's got the slow hand in his loot pool, which isn't a bad shotgun that also happens to be a moxie weapon, meaning that it can also heal you. But what makes him so damn difficult? Well, I'll tell you, this boss has a little something called bullet deflection, basically making it impossible to rush close to this guy without being blown into smithereens by your own bullets. And for that, Piston and his giant goddamn metal T-Rex can go suck my dick and get the fuck out of here. And coming in at our number 3 slot, we have a raid boss infamous for having the Norfleet rocket launcher in his loot pool and not much else. It's a great weapon, but with that, I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about, and it is Hyperius, which is the second raid boss from the Captain Scarlet's DLC to make it on our list here today. But unfortunately, this guy has a whole other issue that I've talked about extensively over in this video right here, and it's the fact that his health was bugged to double what it's supposed to be when they added OP10. While he is still killable on solo and in co-op, he's just way more of a pain than he should be, which is just unfortunate, as he's a lot of players' go-to farm for the Norfleet rocket launcher, as spawning Burmy isn't exactly everyone's first choice these days. Not only does he have these invincible phases that force you to fight his bots, but his bots also have a ridiculous amount of health, and he'll also continue to grow until he's basically the size of Godzilla. Talking about Hyperius there, and that's if you don't kill him quick enough. So fight him while you can, because that motherfucker not only hits hard, but he will not stop swinging at you. And I mean seriously, he's broke as all hell, and just overall, he's a good raid boss and he's a great fight. But he just needs to be fixed to his proper health values, and then I'll have zero complaints. But sadly, I don't think we will ever see Gearbox touch this game again. But the point is, yes, he's still killable, but god damn, he's harder than hell. And coming in at our number 2 spot, we've got my personal favorite raid boss, and maybe even favorite boss of all time, and it's coming straight out of Borderlands 1. It is Crawmerax. He was also the first raid boss, might I add, but I also want to say one more time, I'm just going to say it again, we're not talking about glitches here. So no ledge or any of the barrier bugs. We're just talking about straight up fighting Craw as it's intended. It's easily one of the deepest fights in the entire franchise in regards to its mechanics and overall flow. This fight not only keeps you on your toes, but both Crawmerax and his minions are both pretty damn deadly, with his minions actually being the hardest of the two in my opinion, but I'll get to them in just a moment. Now back to Crawmerax. Craw himself can only be wounded by attacking his critical hit spots. He's got one spot for all 4 of his arms, which is of course the big ass claws, and then he's got one on his back, and finally another critical hit spot on his eye. All being shots that are rather tricky to get lined up, but on top of that, Crawmerax hits fucking hard. Not only can he down you quicker than you could say shit on a shingle, but he can whack you off the map or even just summon in more minions and they will come and ruin your day. Which, my god, the minions, man, coming in 3 different varieties: the Craw Maggots, the green Craw Worms, and finally the armored Craw Worms. To break them down in the simplest way possible, one of them moves fast but has super low health. One's a medium speed but hits harder than all fuck, and another one that's large and slow but is powerful at ranged attacks, in which all of them can sneak up on your ass and down you pretty quickly. And more times than not, when I do die in this fight, it usually is at the hands of those Craw Worms. That's not to say Craw isn't a tough bastard himself, but with the help of his minions, especially if you're not playing Lilith, he's easily one of the hardest bosses in all of Borderlands, and he's also one of just a couple of sources for pearls in the game, which was an exclusive rarity that was introduced in DLC 3, but he also drops a crazy amount of legendary and purple gear, making him one of the best places to farm gear in the entire game. Overall though, Crawmerax just makes for one hell of a fight, and if I could place him at the number 1 spot, trust me, I would. Before I move into the honorable mentions though, I want to mention my second channel really quick because I am bringing it back. So if you're interested in Borderlands 1 and 2 One Life runs, as well as some other content that I'll be bringing over there as well, please give the second channel a sub. Let's see if we can get it to 500 subscribers. I think that's a pretty good goal to hit. And sorry for this cheap little plug. Let's just go ahead and get back into the list. But thank you for everybody that does end up subscribing. I love you guys to death, and I will see you there. Honorable mentions. Okay, so I'm only going to be doing one today because I don't want to keep this video running for too long, but it's gotta be Dexy, man. Dexiduous the Invincible is one of the stupidest bosses that I've ever fought in my entire life. And this one didn't make the list because, like Master Gee, he's not even a hard fight. He's just a boring fight, which in a lot of ways is even worse than a harder fight, because fighting back Yawns is a hell of a lot harder than trying to battle off pixels. Unlike Master Gee though, who at least has one item that you might want, he's got absolutely nothing that you want to farm. And to really just wrap this up, all I've got to say is avoid this big Charlotte's Web clown foolery bullshit at all costs. And coming in at our number 1 spot, he deserves no fancy introduction, and all you need to know is he was included as the other raid boss in the Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt, alongside that big spider dipshit that we just got done talking about, and it is of course Veracitus the Invincible. On top of him already being a massive pain in the ass before the OP10 update, Gearbox has actually made this boss invincible without even realizing it, and of course they never cared to go back and fix it. And yes, you can glitch many different ways and kill him with a bunch of different bugged out methods, but as the game sits right now in 2025, there is no way in solo to kill Veracitus legitimately without cheese methods. Now say what you will, but that's bullshit, and the fact that the developers designed this buttfucker of a fight and didn't even care to go back and fix it just irritates the hell out of me, as they completely broke the fight without even having the mental competence to go and test it out first in OP10. Seriously, how hard would it have been to have the developers go and actually try out their own game? And I don't mean to rag on people or just talk shit, but the fact that it was left broken will forever be one of the biggest flaws of this video game, and that's a big problem for me, as this is my favorite game of all time. This year will be 13 years that some of us have been playing it, and that just fucking boggles my mind. And Vora being broken is especially a problem when he's gatekeeping the goddamn interfacer, one of the best shotguns in all of Borderlands 2. So yes, Vora is the hardest fight in all of Borderlands. but for all the wrong reasons. Honestly, before OP10, he might even still be number 1 on this list, and that goes to show just how crazy this boss really is, which is why it makes it all the more frustrating that he, just like Hyperius, was never fixed. Like I said, if you want to hear me talk more about that, I will leave that video down in the description below, but that's going to do it for me today, guys. But I also want to say that I've got another video coming for you all on Sunday that I put an entire week of work into, and just like this top 5, no one in the Borderlands community has ever done this video. So if you like this video today and you're a big Borderlands 2 fan, please try and tune into that Sunday video, because this is my favorite video that I've made this year so far, and I cannot wait to share it with you all. And with that, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video until the end, and if you did enjoy it, please consider pressing the like button or subscribing if you guys are new, and also let me know what you thought of this list, or if you have any other suggestions for top 5s. I'm always curious to hear what you guys want to see. And before I get out of here, I've got to give a big shout out to my Borderlands Bins for being the absolute units they are and going that extra step to help support the channel. So seriously, much love to you guys. Big LMAO RPG, Tony Owen, Slayer75, Serious Andre, and my main man Day. With that, remember that I love you all to death. I want you to take it easy out there, stay safe, and with that, I will see you all in the next one.